There is a man known as the Sperminator. I'm sorry, I'll try to keep this PG. The Sperminator has just welcomed his 165th child into the world. I'm only on number 3. Number 3 coming very shortly. But 165, there's a long way to go. He says, according to reporting from the New York Post, I have 10 women currently pregnant in the US, Canada, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Zimbabwe and Long Island are due in July. Israel and Queens are due in August. One of his baby mamas, who's a woman in France, could pop at any moment, maybe has already given birth. Now, he says that when he's not, impregnating these women, he wants to, quote, try to be a better father to my 175 children, 34 of whom he hasn't met yet. I guess he's just got so many buns in the oven that it's now, he's awaiting. He's at 165, but 175 are already in the works. And he says, on being a better father, he says, I'll never be able to be as good of a dad to my kids as my father was to me. He grew up in an Orthodox Jewish home in Monsey, upstate New York, alongside his 2 sisters and 4 brothers. So he's not going to be he grew up in a pretty normal, traditional environment, sounds. Orthodox Jews, 7 kids. And so something went truly wrong in his upbringing, in his life, and now he's just impregnating women all over the world. And he's not doing it the old-fashioned way. He's doing it through clinics, and he's not actually sleeping with these women. So one presumes a lot of the time this is couples who go out and purchase sperm because we now commoditize children more than we ever have in history. It could be single individuals who don't want to get married but want to raise a kid anyway. Does he play a role in their lives? He says, some moms don't want me to play a role, but I leave them the option if they change their mind. And most do once the kid gets a little older and starts asking questions. These kids, once they start figuring out that their upbringing is very disordered by design, that it's intentionally really messed up, they start asking questions like, hey, where's my daddy? Why didn't he stick around? Why doesn't he love me? Why do I have 2 mothers and that doesn't actually produce a child? Hey, what's going on? And so apparently then sometimes these mothers will call him up and ask him to, send the kid a birthday note or something. Apparently, to that end, the man keeps a spreadsheet with names, birthdays, addresses, and phone numbers of each of his offspring. He also has his pictures of the kids around his office in Kingsborough. And the photos cover nearly every inch of the room. All sorts of little pictures. He's in some of them, I guess, but not a lot of them because some of the kids he hasn't even met yet. So this guy treats kids like Pokémon cards. That's what the kids are to him. He's just going to go out, he's going to commit an act that is intrinsically sinful to get the, sample so that he can give it to these other women. And then he's just going to have kids out there. And I don't know, that tickles some fancy of his. And he doesn't really think about the kids. Obviously not. And, he's going to condemn these kids to growing up without a father in all sorts of disordered circumstances. He's not responsible to any of them. He admits that he's broke. He doesn't have any money, so he's not really supporting the kids at all. But, it's okay because he gets a thrill out of it. A reminder in the wake of Father's Day. Being a father is more than just a single act. That act is particularly fun and enjoyable, but it's about a lot more than that. It's about raising the child. And this is why the traditional view on marriage and sex and kids is that a child has the right to be the product of the specific conjugal act of his parents who are joined together in holy matrimony, a man and a woman joined together forever. The purpose of that union being the procreation and education, the raising up of children, and as a secondary matter, the mutual support of the spouses. That's the old-fashioned teaching. I know it's considered old fuddy-duddy and old fogey in our modern enlightened age where we've attempted to redefine marriage at the level of the Supreme Court, and we have now pretended that children are a commodity to be bought and sold at the IVF clinic, on the surrogacy market, from the Sperminator when he goes and visits Zimbabwe. We have now inverted the actual order of rights and obligations, and we now pretend that adults have the right to a child, which is the really evil and insidious premise that lies at the heart of the IVF and surrogacy industries. And it leads to stuff like this. There's so much more to say. First, though, Go to puretalk.com/Knowles. For years, people have been switching their wireless service to Pure Talk to save money. $20 a month for unlimited talk, unlimited text, and tons of data. It's a no-brainer. Over the last few weeks, however, Pure Talk has reported a surge of new customers signing up to help them support a charity that is near and dear to their hearts and our hearts. That is America's Warrior Partnership. Many of my listeners have chosen to step away from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile to switch to Pure Talk and help this great charity and get to do business with a company that shares our values, supports our vision for the country. That is why Pure Talk has decided to extend their support for AWP through Independence Day. From now through the 4th of July weekend, Pure Talk will match every dollar donated. Switch your cell phone service to America's most dependable 5G network with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Knowles, Knowles, to start saving on wireless today. That is puretalk.com/Knowles. These guys are great. I got the phone. I got the service. You can use it in America and you can use it overseas. And they support really, really great causes that we all believe in. puretalk.com/Knowles. This should be illegal. It should be illegal because it's so abusive to children to sell your sperm. Okay. I'm not allowed to sell my blood. I'm not allowed to sell my kidneys. I'm not allowed to sell my lungs. In really evil countries, that sort of thing happens. There's black, and usually even that is black market organ trades. We don't do that. We rightly recognize that not everything ought to be governed by market forces. We shouldn't be able to chop off our hands and sell it on the black market to voodoo witch doctors, okay? We are human beings. We're not merely products and commodities. We're proper subjects, and the market exists for our flourishing, not the other way around. We certainly shouldn't be able to sell our body parts and secretions that lead to the creation of children, because then you're commoditizing children. That's wrong, and you're condemning them to live a life, and you're condemning them to an upbringing that is, from the standpoint of social science, putting them at a great disadvantage, and that we just know, forget about social science, from the viewpoint of morality and ethics and anthropology, that this is wrong, that this is contrary to their success. Very, very abusive, but very, very common. And in our modern day and age, you might say, wow, that sperminator, he went too far. 165, 175 kids, wow, that's too far. But if you support the industries that commoditize kids and allow people to just go and buy sperm and buy eggs and rent out wombs, if you support that, then this is what you're supporting. This is the logical conclusion of that. And everyone says, oh, well, no, isn't it so wonderful that Johnny and Jack, they couldn't have children biologically together because they're two dudes, but we've pretended that marriage is something other than it is. So isn't it so beautiful that they can have children by purchasing eggs from one woman and then renting out the womb of some other poor woman and then condemning kids to not have a mommy, ripping a little kid away from his mommy, one of the worst things you can possibly do to a human being. Isn't that so wonderful? Nice, feel good. Love is love. It's Pride Month. A lot of people, even a lot of conservative people, will support that. Well, this is what you're supporting. So, if you're going to support it, at least look it in the face. That was a good clip. Now, hey, if you want more of them, you got to ring that bell. Ring it so you're subscribed to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel, and then you get all the clips. See you soon.